Everyone. I'm excited to talk about the quarter three update for our finances and budgeting at the Front Church. But before I do, there's a couple things that I need to say that are important. The first thing I need to say is just our desire to be financially transparent. We don't want to hide anything. We want to be honest and open about how we spend money, what our budget looks like. If you have questions about that, if you need some clarification on that, we're happy to send you our budget. I'm happy to share how much I get paid. We want you to know if you're giving to the front where your money is going, how much rent costs, that sort of thing. And so we are an open book when it comes to finances. We believe in financial transparency at the Front Church. And so take us up on that offer if you have questions or you need clarifying on what we're doing. And we're giving to create space for people to explore the story of Jesus together. So the second thing I want to share with you guys is just our funding structure and how that works. Maybe you're newer to the front and you don't quite know our funding structure, but we are a new church. We've been around 4 years. And so when you start, where we started the church planting process in 2019 and 2020, 0% of our funding was coming from inside the Front Church and 100% was coming from outside. So there's this group of people, churches, who believe in starting a non-denominational Christian church in Bluffdale, Utah, and have helped to fund this getting started. And so that's where we were in 2019 to 2020. In October of 2024, 40% of our budget was coming from the people within the Front Church, and 60% is coming from people outside the Front Church, which is good growth. And that would have been 3 years. Now we're at the 4-year mark. And earlier this year in January and February, we did something that I was really excited about. We crossed an important threshold at that time where for the first 2 months of 2025, over 50% of the funding to support the front came from you, from the people of the front, and a little under 50% came from people outside the front. But here's where, and so 2027, our goal in a couple years is that 100% of what we need to be a self-sustaining church would come from you guys, would come from within the front. And anything extra we're thankful for and we're grateful for. But I just want to give you an idea of that's how our funding structure works. And that's how we got going off the ground. We exist because people believe in us, because churches believe in us, and so they helped us get going. Our mission is to make Jesus known where he is not. This is why we're a church in Utah. We know that folks have ideas about Jesus, and some folks don't, but we believe that the Jesus of the Bible is amazing. And he loves and he wants people to be in relationship with him. And he is a perfect picture of what God is like. And so we want people to get to know this Jesus. And we think Jesus is ready to change their lives and change their families and change our neighborhoods. And so our mission is to make Jesus known where he is not. And our purpose is we're just all about Jesus. And we want people to meet Jesus, to know Jesus, and to share Jesus with others. And that's what we're all about. Now, we're at a point in our church history where outside givers, those who helped start funding the front before we had people coming and before we were growing as a new church, we're at a point where our outside givers are beginning to reallocate their gifts to other places. This year we had a church cut its giving in a significant way, but not completely. We had another church who wrapped up its giving commitment to us. And this is not going to be uncommon in the next couple of years as we become more self-sustaining. People on the outside and churches on the outside are going to reallocate their giving to another new church, to another organization or missionaries doing great work around the world. And so I'm excited to update you about quarter three in our budget, but it all has to be understood in this light. And that is this. And I shared this in quarter one, our quarter one update several months ago. If the front continues to exist as it is right now, if there's no growth, and if there's no growth from people coming to the front and growth from givers to the front, if it exists as it is right now, in 5 years the front will cease to exist. And we'll do that because we need to grow up as a church. We need to become a self-sustaining church where the giving inside from people like you matches our needs, matches our rent, matches the ministry we want to do in our community and in our church. And so I do want you to hear that if you're a guest with us, we truly don't want you to give. If you're a guest with us, we truly want your presence with us to be your gift to us. But if you call the Front Church your home, we want to ask you to consider giving, because this thing needs people to give and continue to give to make it the long haul. Yesterday was an exciting day at the front because we had our first New Here welcome party of the year. We had 25 people come to our New Here welcome party. 25 of you trying to figure out if the Front Church is the church for you. And we truly hope it is. We want to create space for you to explore the story of Jesus. We want to create space where we're following Jesus together. And so if you are a part of the front, when you give, you help us do things like that as well and create the space for people to meet Jesus. Now, sometimes there's a perception that if giving increases, then I get paid more. And so I want to just put that to rest right now and explain a little bit about how I get paid. The amount that I get paid to lead the Front Church is set by a team of advisors, and there's a process we go through to change that. And so if you give more, it doesn't mean I get paid more. That would be kind of a gross way to budget. But what actually increases if you give more is our ability to do more ministry if you give more. Our ability to serve our community generously, and specifically our ability to be around long term, because we have to reach this point of being self-sustaining. And so we don't just want to exist, we want to flourish. We want to be a blessing to the community and those around us. We want to be here for a long time. We want to one day hopefully own a building of our own. We want to one day hopefully that building can be an incubator where other people can help kind of hang with us for a while and then go start another non-denominational Christian church in a different part of Utah or a different part of the Salt Lake Valley or a different part of the world, where people can explore the story of Jesus together, where people can follow Jesus together, connect in communities, serve others, live generously. We want this. We want to get there. We don't ever just want this to be about the Front Church. We are part of a movement of churches. We're already networked with 1,400 churches around the country that are trying to do similar things. And we want to be a vessel where this thing doesn't end with us, but it keeps moving forward. That's why even part of our budget right now, we give to Neighborhood Church, which is a new church in Daybreak, a couple years younger than us. We give to Summit 419 Church, which is a church in Colville, Utah, which is a church that just celebrated their first birthday. We give to some missionaries who are doing work in Japan. The funding doesn't just stay with us. The funding goes out because we want to see people all over our community, all over our state, and all over the world meet Jesus, because it's all about Jesus. And so now for the quarter 3 2025 report. At the start of 2025, we had $58,559 in reserves, or in our account. In April 2025, praise God, 4 months, we had nearly $15,000 more. We had $73,604. In June, we had $75,128. And in August, which is where we have numbers through right now, we had $66,618 in the bank. So God is providing. And you might notice the dip, but just think about things like kids camp. And there's just some bigger expenses that happen in the summertime. And also, not just bigger expenses happen in the summertime, but giving tends to dip in the summertime. And I'll show you these next slides. And I'll attach a PDF to this video as well so that you can see these slides up close and personal. But this is a picture of giving month to month over the course of the year through August of this year. Or if you don't really want to look at numbers, this is a graph. And what I just want to point out to you from this graph and these numbers is that there were only 3 months so far through August that our giving did not match budget. So that's amazing. That's a growth step. But again, remember that our giving is a conglomeration of you giving and also our outside gospel partners also giving to the front. And then this next slide is just how our actual spending versus our budgeted spending. And so again, we're trying to stay our actual spending, keep it under our budgeted spending. And on the year, we're doing it. On the year, we have $120,000 budgeted, and more has come in than we budgeted, and our spend through August is $116,300. And so that's really exciting. In 2025, we actually had to decrease our budget because we were overspending last year. We need to get to a more sustainable spot. And if you want information on that, you can watch the first video from our Q1 financial update this year. But we had $15,000 a month, which was a very reasonable goal for us between outside givers and you guys. But our 2025 giving thus far is $16,237 a month, which is amazing. So thank you so much for giving. And so right now, this is the big picture. We have, I already walked you through how in 2019, 2020, 0% was coming from inside the front and 100% of our giving was coming from outside the front. In January and February of this year, we crossed kind of a threshold where a little over 50% came from within the front and a little under 50% came from outside the front. But on the year as a whole, from January through August, 48.5% of our budget comes from you and 51.5% has come from outside the front, generous individuals and churches who want to see us succeed and flourish. And so that is really exciting. So just kind of to wrap up this update, if you call the front your home and you're not giving yet, we'd encourage you to give. We don't think that there's a mandated percentage that the Bible teaches or anything like that. We think the Bible invites us to be cheerful givers, to give from the heart. We do think there is a relationship between our giving and our hearts, though. Jesus says that wherever your money is, there your heart will also be. Why am I forgetting the exact phrase? But Jesus is basically saying that actually, if you want your heart to move in a certain direction, the easiest way to do that is to put your finances there. And so I'm not just talking about the front church here. I'm talking about in general. If there's things you're passionate about or things you want to grow in passion for, maybe it's a specific cause that gets you excited or something like that. If you put your money there, your heart will follow. Just like if you put your money in a stock, your heart follows that stock. And so my encouragement to you guys would be, if you're not giving to the front, but you call the front your home, and you want to grow in love for the front and our mission, which is to make Jesus known where he is not, and you believe in our purpose, that it's all about Jesus, then I'd encourage you to give and watch your heart follow. Monthly recurring giving helps us best as we budget and plan, so consider that. And then our rent has slightly increased for One Voice, which what a location we have. It's a church plant's dream come true. And this year, if you've noticed some changes recently, we get to use their speakers. We're going to get to use their lights very soon. They hung up curtains. We get to use their projector, which is such a breath of fresh air and a burden lifted on some of our setup team, because we just have less that we have to kind of set up on a Sunday morning. But in exchange for the use of some of their equipment, our rent has increased by $200 a month. And for us, that was an easy decision to give our setup team a little bit more breathing room and just even the quality of the experience for our guests and for our people. If you remember, when we had to set up our own speakers, people got blasted at the front because if you were like right in front of the speakers, you felt like your eardrums were going to be blown out. And if you're in the middle, you didn't feel like you could hear anything. And now with One Voice's speakers and system, it's just an amazing experience where even the sound is so much better. So we're really thankful, but our rent has increased a little bit to utilize some of their equipment. And so that's exciting for us. And it's just so exciting for us that 25 people came to our New Year welcome party yesterday. And you guys are helping make that possible. You are helping create this space where people can meet Jesus, where people can learn about Jesus, and where people will eventually share Jesus, where people will get to know the Jesus they have not known before. And so thank you. Thank you for your generosity, your giving. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you for that. If you have any questions about our budget, finances, you want to see more specific numbers, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me, nate@thefrontchurch.com. Is a great way to get me. And so that's all I got for our 2025 Q3 financial update.